Hey, everybody, and a welcome into the No Hype Zone. I am Seth,
This is Lance.
and we have again our special guest with us, James from James Out West. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you guys doing?
James is not a special guest. You know, he's like, the crossover edition. He's not a special guest. He's part of it. No hype.
This is true.
We're integrated into the No Hype Zone. We are integrated into James Out West.
Absolutely. We're spin-off shows that just crossover. Yeah, absolutely. Crossover events, baby.
James, I got a question for you before we kind of start. Are you okay? I was rooting for Cleveland over the Yankees, man.
Oh, boy.
I'm very upset. Our boy Shane Bieber had a full outing. Yikes.
That happened.
That might have been the most devastating. I know 2016 losing in Game 7 is the most devastating I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But what happened to them and the team that they had, considering all the diversity and the things that they've gone through that people don't talk about, I don't think anybody knew that Terry Francona wasn't managing the team.
I didn't know that either.
See?
I watched the broadcast and
that's what I'm saying. Like, they won 33 or 34 games. 27 of them were won by Sandy Alomar Jr. being the coach, being the skipper. That he wasn't there. So it was very interesting.
Wow.
We didn't have the bats. They got healthy at the end. Nobody knows what was even wrong with Francona. They never said what the health issues were. It wasn't COVID because they would have obviously been all over that in the media. So the fact that they held it back tells me it was probably pretty serious. And I'm glad that everybody respected, but it was just kind of a weird year. So yeah, they're out. The Marlins have never lost a baseball playoff series. So with that being said, they're probably going to win the World Series.
Wow, that would be the funniest thing.
Yeah, right.
Baseball. It would be fitting that the team that Jeter bought, that everybody made fun of, that he dumped all the salary on, ends up winning the damn World Series.
Yep, that would.
And another funky stat here for you: the Twins are 0 for the last 19 in playoff games, man. The Twins.
That's why I don't get hyped. When you started talking about them at the beginning of the season, I was like, "What? Minnesota? Why are we even talking about?" Some teams you can't talk about until they win something. You can get hype. It's just like that Clipper love. You gotta win something for us to start getting hype. I've learned my lesson. Leave it alone. No more Minnesota stuff.
Right. Well, sorry to jump off with that baseball right out of the gate. We didn't get a chance to talk about it too much last week, but I just want to get James' take on that. And I guess that's our baseball talk for today. Watch the playoffs, everybody. Go Padres, right?
Why?
We're all Padres fans.
Whatever.
We're not talking about the Dodgers. Just let it go. We're not talking about the Dodgers.
I was about to go there, right? You just started some stuff when you just got to no hype. You started some stuff when you just said we all Padres fans.
You cannot talk about the Dodgers until they're in the World Series because
don't jinx it, Lance,
World
right?
Series or bust. It's World Series or bust. You can't even talk about them right now. You got to
wait
another series or two.
No hype. You're absolutely right. That is absolutely facts right there. That's a billion one facts. So I won't say nothing. And you're right. Maybe I should pull a reverse jinx like my father used to do with the White Sox and the Cubs. He used to root for the White Sox so that the Cubs would win. And sure enough, it paid off back a couple of years ago. He watched the whole White Sox series. So go Padres. Go Padres.
And on a side note, we got a special guest here today. We got a future No Hype Zone member. This is Sade here. Just turned 8 months. She feeds a dog right now. So she's going to hang out with us today a little bit. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother.
Hey, say hi. Hi, YouTube.
So cute. Don't let her look at them camera with her eyes. You know how she mesmerizes everybody with them eyes, man.
Yeah,
she can't
right.
do it.
All right, well, let's start out with basketball. So we've all watched the first 2 games of the finals. It is now 2 games to 0 the Lakers. What do the Heat have to do to, I guess, quote unquote, heat it up? Pun intended. Go ahead, Lance.
Basically, they got to figure out what's working for them. Right now, Jimmy Butler's doing everything he can, but, I think they was too quick to try to anoint Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero as the next Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. What they're giving you is what Tyler Hero gave you in the first game. He was minus 35 in the first game.
Ooh.
That's a nasty stat. He put up 14 points, but it was just no production. Iguodala also didn't show up that first game. He was minus 35. Duncan Hero has been in the no less than minus 8. The first game he was minus 8. This last game he went no point. He was no points and had minus 21. So the thing is this, that you got Jimmy Butler trying to do all he can do. Dragic is out. Adebayo is out. That's pretty much everything that you need in order to have a fighting chance. Not saying that you was going to win it, but just to have an actual chance. So And you got Kendrick Nunn and Oleg is pretty much the best two players that's playing right now. No height, stats wise, and what they're giving you off the bench, they're not at least making. Nunn had a few turnovers yesterday, but still, they production wise and what they give you in time wise is more efficient than what you're getting from your starters. So no height. The Heat has to, in order to heat it up, they're gonna have to get productions for better consistency from their starters. Iguodala is gonna have to bring all that championship flair, hype wise, all that championship flair that he had from Golden State over. But the thing is this: you're in a new dynasty right now. Just like with Golden State, you had the killer combo of Clay and Steph. But now you got the Los Angeles Lakers version of Clay and Steph, which is not Clay Steph, but Clay Steph and KD. That was like, you can't beat that tandem, right? Or that trio. Now you got LeBron and AD, which is the top 5 players, 2 of the top 5 players in the league. So with that tandem alone, it's almost like creating those infinity stones like these Thanos, hype-wise. Like, this is unstoppable.
Dude, I love your analogies, man.
This is unstoppable. This is unstoppable. It's like them two together. It's the energy. LeBron is the MVP hype-wise to me, from what I'm seeing. AD is a killer.
Over AD. AD has all the stats right now.
AD is a monster. AD is killing it, but hype-wise, no hype. LeBron's averaging a triple-double. LeBron he doesn't just look like St. Vincent's, not Miami LeBron. I always like to throw that out there as far as how he's playing with those live legs. But LeBron is looking like every bit of the smarts of Cleveland LeBron, the skill level of Miami LeBron, the youth of St. Vincent's Mary's LeBron. He is like got it all coming together right now, where if he doesn't get the MVP, it was by somebody who wasn't watching the game. It was so the voting was rigged some kind of way. So no hype. It's no coming back for the Heat on this. I don't see this happening.
James, do you think, is it over 2 games from now? Do you think, is there any chance for the Heat to come back?
It was over before it started.
Okay.
It was. It was over before it started. When you got a guy who basically the second best player on your team, you can say Bam, but Gordon Dragic deserves that respect, tears his plantar fasciitis and can't play. And you got Jimmy Buckets is what's left. I'm sorry, they don't stand a chance. And I'm sorry, AD being top 5 is only because there's like 17 guys that didn't play this year. It's the only reason he's top 5.
And the reason why I asked this question.
No, stop. AD is a top 5 talent. He's not a top 5 player because he disappears a lot. KD doesn't disappear. Klay Thompson doesn't disappear unless they're injured.
I will say that AD doesn't have the opportunity to appear because he hasn't been in the playoffs. What is his second playoff run? So
he show up on a Thursday night on TNT playing the Wizards and he doesn't. So I can't say that. I think that this team, hands down, they're going to win it. It's going to be easy. And the LeBron haters are going to throw out there, well, it was the COVID championship. It was in a bubble. It was a weird transition of things. There was no fans. They're going to hold this. He's in a no-win situation. They're going to hold this against him whether he wins or loses.
But I would say it's even harder in the bubble because there's no fans, because you can't go home. There's no home.
That's no hype.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. So
the pundits on television are going to say the opposite.
You say that's an asterisk. So you got to say the same thing for hockey. You got to say the same for baseball as well, because baseball's going to be in a bubble as well.
I agree, but it's LeBron. There's nobody in hockey or in baseball that holds that clout that's like chasing the greatest of all time that needs a championship to seal that. It'd be more like football. Like if they were in a bubble and Brady and Belichick, you can compare that if Brady got there, but it's in a bubble and it's a weird year. And I just think it's such an anomaly because there's such a huge difference. Like Michael was universally loved and still is to an extent. LeBron is not. You either love LeBron or you hate LeBron. Even people that hated Mike was because they lived in Detroit or New York or Indianapolis, or Cleveland. They didn't hate his game. Michael was still my favorite player, but he played the Cavs and I hated it, but he's still my favorite player and he was the GOAT. People with LeBron is such a diversive. Yeah, there's such a diverse.
That's because LeBron was different. That's because
yes.
And I'm saying this all hype, and you can challenge that. LeBron was different. He steered his own ship. If I was saying this to somebody earlier today, had Michael had a chance to have a LeBron before him, Michael probably would have had a different type of career, just like all the rest of the next generation of ball players. But Michael had players that was loyal to teams, and as you can see, that cost Michael from going to different championships because of the fact he only had 6 of them, whereas LeBron is in his 10th freaking finals. 10th freaking finals.
It's unbelievable.
In his 17th year. It's unfreaking believable. If
he wins, this will be 4 out of 6.
It's all hype. Anybody that hates on LeBron is a personal reason why you hate on LeBron. Because if you're a basketball guy, if you enjoy the game, I don't care if you're not a Cleveland fan, if you're not a Miami fan, you're not a Laker fan, you're watching freaking greatness right now. And if for anybody that's trying to compare him to Jordan, that's unfair. He's the GOAT of this era. But what he's doing is he's up there as far as doing things that's so mind-blowing right now that when Jordan was doing it, he was like, whoa, ain't nobody going to top this. LeBron is doing that. LeBron right now, 10th freaking final, playing out his mind right now. Game is constantly changing. He's a power forward, small forward playing a point guard right now. Lively legs, bringing up a team. All he has is one other player. Minded that player, like I said, top 5 talent. James, all hype, what you said, top 5 talent, but maybe not top 5 player. Top 5 talent. He's making him turn into a top 5 player. Huh?
What's the nickname you gave LeBron the other day? The nickname you gave LeBron.
Optimus Prime.
Why?
Prime.
Why'd you give him that?
Because he's doing his prime better than anybody I've ever seen it. His prime is in extension mode. He has one of those batteries that that you can just take wherever you go, and the battery never freaking dies. It's like you always on airplane mode, conserving the battery. That's what he does. I know he's putting $2 million, $3 million worth of stuff in his body to stay like that, but that should tell people that you need to invest into your body because look at the way this dude is playing, man. He's got that Benjamin Button stuff going on. Beautiful.
Right. So,
well, I mean, he doesn't have that Benjamin. Yep.
No, said they're up 2-0. A lot of times, we jump the gun early and say, hey, it's over. It's over. On this time around, can we say, hey, it literally is over? Is it safe to say that, or can the Heat, technically climb back in there?
No, I think the injuries, like Lance was saying, all these guys that are hurt, they're already going into it well undermanned. This isn't like 300 where Leonidas is leading them down against this big old dude with the gold ring in his nose, and this isn't 300. You can't. There's nothing to come back from this. LeBron is going to stomp them into the ground. Now, I don't think they can win a game, but if we want an argument for argument's sake that maybe they could win a game, it would be the Lakers counting the championship before 2-hand. Maybe LeBron gets in foul trouble. It's a low-scoring game, and it takes a buzzer beater to win one game. Like, they don't have a guy that can will a game to victory. They don't have that guy. They don't. I'm sorry. I just don't think they do. I know Tyler Hero, we're going to talk about him being the next up-and-coming superstar. I think he's got a good flash in the playoffs, but I don't think this is a superstar. He caught everybody by surprise, and everybody's going to be ready for him next year. And I don't think he's going to set up that type of game. He's going to be a 13-point-a-guy game. He's not going to be – he's having a great run. We've had a lot of guys that had great runs that won't be remembered in NBA. I can't think of their names. That's how much they're not remembered. He's probably going to be one of those.
Right.
Exactly. My hype on that, Seth, really quick, what you were saying was – the question was, do you think they can come back? And the thing is this, no hype. I don't think that they can come back. No hype. But hype-wise, anything is possible. Jimmy Butler, yesterday, the game, he tried to make it competitive to before the Lakers took off. The Lakers used the Mamba jersey mentality, saying that they don't lose in them jerseys. So who knows if they had a little bit of woogie going on that made them feel like they was unstoppable. But with that being said, you still got Jimmy Butler, and this is hype. Me speaking in my hype. Jimmy Butler is one of them players that he'll take it to another level. He can get some. And we talk about Tyler Hero. I don't see him as budding superstar. I see him as a good player, and maybe he can develop into a superstar. Who am I to tell him that he's not that dude? But if he performs and just comes out of nowhere and gives you a couple of good games, and Robinson gives you a couple of good games, and that bench comes through, and Iggy does what he has to do, then anything is possible. That's all I want to say. I don't want to say never because anything can happen.
Okay. All right. Well, we've already kind of touched on the hype and no hype section, but I guess we'll just run through it real quick here. So hype or no hype, AD wins MVP. I'm going to say that is no hype because right now he is kind of playing out of his mind. He's leading all the team and all the major stats. Sorry, she has something to say about it. But I'm going to say no hype on AD winning the MVP. Go ahead, James.
You go ahead, James.
I'm going to say that's hype because they will give it to LeBron. How are you not going to give it to a guy that's in his 10th, that's averaging a triple-double, that came there to lead the Lakers back to prominence, yada, yada, yada. I don't think they give it to the Brow.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that's hype too. That was an excellent breakdown, things, because AD is putting up numbers, but again, it's like Magic and Kareem when you back in the Lakers days, and you knew that Kareem would do certain things, but you would see the way that Magic would touch the game with his fingerprint was all over the game, and Kareem was a bona fide scorer, but it's just one of them things hype wise. My hype is that LeBron gets it, just like what James said. LeBron got a triple-double going on, 17th season. He didn't do anything to lose. He should have been the MVP hype-wise in the league this season. So, with that being said, AD has many more years to try to get his own Finals MVP hype again.
Will the NBA start in December this year? That's in like 2.5 months.
Starting at the first beginning of the year.
Is that hype or no hype?
No, that's hype. It'll start next year, 2021.
Okay. Is that already set in stone?
I think they're leaning towards that. They've talked about it being that it wasn't going to start like literally. They're talking about March.
Yeah.
Really?
No hype.
I did not know that.
No hype. Hype to what you're saying, but the hype to that is not. It's not going to start in December. But no hype. From what I heard, it was an email that went out saying that the season won't start until at least the first of the year. I don't know if it's March, but it'll be around. It wouldn't surprise me if it is March. It makes more sense to start in March.
So if it does start in March, will they have a shortened season, like 62 games or 60 games or something like that? Do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's just going to be the new norm. I think they're going to cut.
Yeah, because you can't have games like back to back to back. They're complaining about that a couple years ago. So I think they would have to have a shortened season.
I think they cut the season down by 20-some games. I do. I think maybe with that being an ability, I don't know if there's a union, between the union and the bylaws between the CBA that they can or cannot do that. They might have to vote on something like that. And players are going to only vote on it if they get to keep their salary. You're not going to cut 21 games or 22 games and then cut whatever that percentage is off of my paycheck. If I'm making the same amount of money, sure. But if you're going to prorate it based on me losing those games, now we're going to play those games. So I'm going to sit out 7 of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can't have the Kawhi, sitting out 20 games a year clause, because then you're only going to be playing 40 games if it's a 60 game schedule. You can't have that.
That's not going to happen. And like you said, I don't see it happening. I see them shaving off some games. I don't know if they're going to be able to have a full season. We may be a couple of years away from having a full season. Full season means that you'll be able to have full attendance, and so. Until this whole thing gets under wraps, then it's going to be one of those things. And that's all hype. That's me talking not from facts, but what I think.
All right, so let's move on to the NFL. I do want to touch on Joe Burrow and Herbert are 2 quarterbacks that are rookies. I'm not a fan of. Neither is she, apparently. I'm not a fan of rookies starting, right out of the gate. But these guys are taking the reins, especially for Justin Herbert, taking over for. What's his name? I can't remember.
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, yes.
Yeah.
He's not bad. He's not doing too shabby.
Willie Beam, man.
Yeah, right. But I think Burrow and Herbert are doing great.
Tyrod Taylor's always been a backup quarterback to me.
Who is? Tyrod?
Tyrod. He's always been like a glorified back. Him and like Ryan Fitzpatrick, they both like good. They can almost, you think that they can be starters, but they're like glorified backup quarterbacks to me. Nick Foles is the only one that's a backup quarterback that's a real quarterback. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I hope that these guys, do well this year. Because I always hate seeing rookie quarterbacks being thrust into the spotlight with a bad team, bad offensive line, and then, they do crappy for the first year, and then it lowers their self-esteem and their confidence. So I hope these guys can stay strong and keep doing what they're doing.
I would say this: if they are going to get their feelings hurt after one season of mediocre football, then they're not meant to be a franchise quarterback. Troy Aikman went 1-15 his rookie year. Peyton Manning threw 27 interceptions his rookie year. If they were around during Skip, hey, listen here, Skip, we got these Ash Boy, William Skip. These boys are terrible. If they had that 24/7, those guys would have either told them to go kick rocks and would have been the greatest they were, or they'd fall in this pattern that is a Josh Rosen, a Sam Darnold, these guys that kind of get, oh boy, I'm down on my dumps. I don't know what to do. I wanted to hate on Joe Burrow as far as the position of him being a Bengal, but he's got 5 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Yeah.
Like he's judicious with the ball. Now, His deep ball percentage is 7%.
Ooh.
7. Not
Hey.
17.
Here's a stat for you.
7.
7.
And he's getting smashed. He needs to learn how to get rid of the ball faster. But with that being said, he is going to be probably a really good quarterback for a long time. I don't know if he's going to be a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But he could be Carson Palmer. I'm not trying to draw the comparison because it's a Bengal, but I mean, he could be Jordan Palmer or Carson Palmer, which is a really nice NFL fit 14-year career.
All right.
My hype on Burrow, from what I've seen, Burrow, him and Claire Hilaire, they both come with that LSU swag, the championship swag. And no hype, Burrow said that he doesn't like losing. He hates this losing thing. He recognizes that this team is not playing up to the level that he plays up to. So as a true leader, he maybe is not as boisterous as a lot of other leaders are, going out there putting in the newspaper everything that he says and does to motivate his team. But I bet you behind closed doors, he's a culture changer. So I see him as being the type of person, hype to what you're saying that he's going to be depressed. I see him being, and my hype is, I believe that he's going to be a strong quarterback. I think he's going to go beyond hype, what you're saying, James, as far as Andy Dalton. I don't see him as an Andy Dalton. I see him as a quarterback that's going to either get that Bengals franchise into the championship, like what Boomer Esiason was the last Bengal quarterback, I think, to be able to do that with those guys. If he can, I see him being able to either change that franchise or demand out. And if he and the only reason why I say that is because of his days with Ohio State going to LSU, because he knew that he wasn't going to be a starter. So that gene might still be there for him to say, hey, this is not picture perfect for me to find a way out. But if he stays there, I believe that culture is going to change.
That's a good point.
All right, let's move on here. This is almost, I picked this question because a little bit of a homegrown or hometown hero here. Who's the best receiver in the NFL right now?
Right now.
Right now, 3 games in. Best receiver.
I mean, we probably have to say DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, right? Like, he's just catching everything that's thrown to him. They throw the ball a lot to him. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say D-Hop.
He's got a lot of the offenses running for him right now, and he might be out this Sunday. So is that going to hurt the Cardinals' chance to win their game? I think it's like 43% of their offense is like through Hopkins, or 43% of the receiver catches through him. So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He's not going to miss, though. Here's the thing. If you learn about anything about following D-Hop's career, Nuke doesn't miss games.
He does not.
Steve Keim, GM of the Cardinals, said on Doug and Wolf earlier this week that he doesn't miss games. Look at his body. He knows his body better than anybody. So even if he's limited, not Mr. Unlimited like Russell Wilson, but limited to practice, then he will show up on Sunday. Hey, dog, give me a shot. I'm going to get out there and go get this ball.
Right on. Who you got, Lance?
I mean, you don't want to see him out the offense again. Cardinals is must-see TV, even with the loss. I still enjoy watching him play. And I think, but it's going to hurt them tremendously if he's out, because you don't have a Christian Kirk that's 100%. So that means that you can't shift that percentage of deep balls, or not even deep balls, but balls thrown over to Kirk, because Kirk can't perform like that, which means that who's going to carry a heavy load. The only one that's eligible is Larry Fitzgerald, which he can do it. He's been doing it ball before. However, your main 2 guys is Hop and Kirk, and both of those guys not 100%. So, I'm hoping that the Cardinals find a way to pull it out again, because I don't want to see them get too deep, because the NFC West, I believe, is one of the best conferences or divisions in football right now. And with that being said, you can't get too much of a lead to the other guys out there. You need to stay really competitive, so can't drop this game.
Now, real quick though, just on the flip side of that, because we were talking local and it's D-Hop and everything, there's an argument for Tyler Lockett because of what he's been doing. We're talking about this year.
Yeah, this year. Right now.
Tyler Lockett's a third-rated receiver as far as stats are concerned in the NFL. Number 2 is DeAndre Hopkins. Number 1, I believe, oddly enough, Calvin Ridley.
Wow.
And tearing it up.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Where's he at?
Not total yards, but yeah, Atlanta. Like, not catches, because I know D-Hop's got the catches, but yards, touchdowns. Like, if you were to put together in like a fantasy football type thing of points that they accumulate based on their stats, he's the number 1 receiver in the NFL right now through 3 weeks.
And it's funny you say the Falcons, because the Falcons' offense is fantastic.
Cooking.
dropped the ball on defense, apparently.
No,
Which
Josh,
is
and
bad.
special teams
Yeah.
and coaching. And you
Yeah.
want me to keep going? It's a whole
Yeah.
lot more going on in Atlanta. Atlanta
Yeah.
is doing some crazy stuff right now. You're right. Offense is cooking. Hype-wise, I know because I got Matt Ryan as my quarterback on my fantasy football team. So I know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's stupid stuff that's going on. I'm not a Falcons guy, period. But, man, it's just stupid that last week when Dallas won that game off that onside kick. That's Pop Warner football, man. And then you let the Bears come back and beat you. And again, thanks good Bears. You know, I'm not gonna cheer for the Bears or the Raiders until they actually get in the Super Bowl because I don't want to jinx it. But with that being said, you let the Bears come back on you. Now they 3. The Bears is 3-0. So hey, hype wise, they're gonna have to make a lot of changes in Atlanta. No hype wise, they're gonna have to make a lot of changes in Atlanta like now.
Yes, agreed.
All right. Next question. Is anybody surprised at how well the Patriots are doing despite having a brand new quarterback and having 6 guys that opted out this year? I'll start with this one. I'll even say this, hype and no hype. I am not surprised just because that coaching staff is absolutely fantastic. They do a great job of trying to not fit a round peg into a square hole or however you want to, square peg into a round hole. So it'll be interesting to see if Cam can't play this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or whenever they're going to make up that game against the Chiefs, what they do with that game plan. I think that they're going to get this team ready as best they can for whoever is at quarterback and fit their strengths. So hype and no hype, I am not surprised one iota. So watch out, Bills fans out there, I'm one of them. Watch out for the Patriots because they're still dangerous.
Agreed with you. Now, I will say this. This was a game that I expect the Patriots to lose to begin with, whether they had Cam in or not. I think the Chiefs are just a smidge better, just from an offensive standpoint. I just feel like they're a smidge better. But there's no way I am definitely not surprised by this. I think Belichick is exactly what he is. He's the greatest coach of all time because of the things that you said. Why, instead of being egotistical and it's going to be my way or the highway, we go, wow, these guys have a lot of talent, but they can't do that. So let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's do what they do well and fit it to us. That's the story of a coach, is fitting it around your place. Same thing with a teacher. I teach the same curriculum. If they don't get it, then they fail. No, every student's different. You teach them in certain ways to help them be the best version of themselves. And that's what Bill is. He's a teacher. I mean, that's what this comes down to me. And he gets the best out of them because I think what they push out to the external, the Patriot way, isn't so much that same way behind the doors. I mean, you see how much fun Cam Newton's having. If he didn't feel like he could have that kind of fun and Bill was running a dictatorship over there, then Cam wouldn't be the way he is. So to me, I think it's just been Tommy's been the poster boy, and now you were able to see that, no, Bill actually is pretty loose. We just, when it's game day, it's game day. I'm not going to flinch because we scored a touchdown. I expect to. I'll smile when we win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, do your job. No hype. Hype-wise, I didn't expect Cam to be able to go in there and be as successful as he's been with the Patriots. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't think that they was gonna be like this this early. But no hype-wise, because of the way that I know, just like James said, the system of the Patriot way, going in, Cam conformed to whatever's the system. And like you said, Belichick is just all about paying attention to details. The same formatting system is through every championship team, or no matter what the sport is pretty much do your job. Don't get happy. Don't start patting yourself on the back every time you win. Always think about the big picture, which is winning everything. And even then, you keep trying to be the best. Even when you're the best, you keep fighting to be better and better and better. And if you're not willing to commit to doing your job, then I make the next man up will do your job. And that person won't do it, then the next man up will do your job. And no matter what I got to do to keep putting in, like you said, not putting in round pegs into a circle, but actually finding those actual circle pegs to put in there that's going to fit. That's what he does. So, hype, no, I'm not surprised. But hype-wise, I was a little nervous. I'm going into it with Cam.
Okay. And then the last question, I did this one for you, James. Browns are above 500 for the first time since 2014. Will they keep it going? I know they got a tough game this weekend. A 1 o'clock game, Eastern, which that one team from Texas rarely plays at that time slot. So I'm glad they got them then. So I'm actually a Browns fan this weekend. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, first off, as Browns fans, we are all, I feel, honorary members of the Bills Mafia because we basically have the same franchise. I mean, you guys have been to 4 Super Bowls, but like we have very much the fans, and I will tell you this from knowing fans from both sides, they very much they're like 2 motorcycle clubs that get along. Like they're like, yeah, you got yours, we got ours, but we can hang out. Like it's okay. I feel like we're in the same boat as y'all when it comes to like the type of fans, the city, the things like that. I do not expect them to win tomorrow.
Okay.
When going through the schedule, I had them being 7-4 going into that week. Okay, but I had them being 4-4. I figured they would lose to Baltimore. They'd win their next 2, and I just chalked the Cowboys up game as a loss. Now, how they can win is keeping the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands because the Cowboys' offense is almost unstoppable. They score on almost every possession. They really do. They're putting up a ton of numbers because their defense is Swiss cheese right now. So it's almost like Brady back in the day. How do you stop the Patriots? Don't let Brady have the ball. He's going to score every time. Don't let Dak Prescott have the ball. It's going to take a lot of Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, down their throats, have control of the ball, don't turn it over, and it be a low-scoring game. If this is a shootout, the Browns will lose this game because that means they fell in love with the offense, with throwing the ball because the secondary of the Cowboys stinks right now. Yeah. They can't fall in love with that. They got to go in there, be on the road, control the ball. Damned if Odell's upset. Damned if Landry's upset. They won't be upset if they get a W.
Well, I'll give you a quick stat here. If Baker Mayfield throws less times, they have a winning record. So they can just
25 passes?
Something like 25 or 26 passes is the winning record. So if they can keep feeding Chubb and Kamara the ball.
Please, say that again.
Yes.
Yep,
Chubb and Hunt. Chubb and Hunt. Sorry. I
get those 2 guys mixed up.
Hype-wise, Chubb is on my fantasy team, so I love hearing y'all talk about that. So hype. I'm going to be with the Browns this week. I'm from Chicago. We don't have that Bills crossover love that y'all 2 was talking about earlier. So Cleveland and Chicago don't have that type of, flow. So with that being said, this is like uncharted waters for me trying to be rooting for the Browns because I'm not I've been cracking up at the Browns. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, sure. Everybody has. Everybody's been cracking up with the Browns.
When you're from Chicago, the laugh is a little bit harder when it comes to Cleveland. Only, the history. And that's no hype. That's real. You say Cleveland, you start laughing. It's like saying Mustafa and the Lion King when they start going, he with the hyena. It's that type of thing. So with that being said, hype-wise, I think everything you just said, James, as far as not allowing Dak Prescott to have the ball, Cleveland has a chance of running. So that means that Beckett can't go out there trying to feed Odell's ego and Jarvis Landry's ego by throwing the ball around. He's got to get a healthy, he's got to run, keep time of possession over on Cleveland's side. That would stop Dallas from having the possession that they would need to actually win. And I think that Cleveland can pull it off with that game plan. If not, Dallas has got this, and that's no hype. Dallas will win this game, running down. It was run up the scoreboard with no problem on Cleveland.
Okay, I got a quick question for you guys. We have one game this weekend between 2 teams that haven't won yet. So the Vikings are playing the Texans. Both are 0-3. Both teams are supposed to be good, right? But they're both 0-3. Who you got? Because this actually could be a good game potentially. In my opinion.
I think both teams are in panic mode, obviously. I think that, and I brought this up last week, I don't know how Bill O'Brien, the GM, fires Bill O'Brien, the head coach in Houston. But going 0-4, would be expected, especially because they were expected to make the playoffs and make a run. You just gave Deshaun Watson a bunch of money. You traded D-Hop for nothing. Ended up with David Johnson, which looked like this could be a good pairing, a second resurgence of his career. They don't have a clue what they want to do on offense. They don't have a clue what they want to do on defense besides that defensive line because J.J. Watt runs the show. Mike Zimmer's in no shape worried about his job. I think that whatever happens, Minnesota could go in 16. GM's not being fired. The coach is not being fired. They believe in what Rick Spielman and what Zimmer brings to the table. It would be just an odd year. I don't think that happens. But that being said, I think Minnesota plays a little looser than Houston. So I'm going to take Minnesota. I think Minnesota's even plus 4.5. If you're taking points.
And the game's in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
It's in
Not like it makes a difference, but you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's in Houston. It actually might help the Vikings be on the road.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So let's go into the hype and no hype part. Okay. Mahomes is the best pure passer we have ever seen. Hype or no hype? Lance, go.
I wasn't around to really look at Johnny Unitas, but from the highlights I seen, Johnny Unitas was money. Joe Montana was silky smooth. I got a chance to see him. And Mahomes is up there, but I got to see the full body of work before I say he's the best that you've ever seen.
So you're going to say hype.
I said you're hype, but no hype to what I'm saying, because stats wise with Unitas and Montana and Brady even in his prime, you got better passes. And Mahomes can do some things. He's creative, but he's got 3 years in the league to say he's the best of all time. It's too early to say.
I understand all the time. I'm saying just the best pure passer, just from like
again pure.
Okay.
No, Joe Montana is to me is as sweet, and the highlights of Johnny Unitas was on some stuff too, and he didn't have Nikes. He had them terrible cleats that he was wearing.
He was the first guy to wear high top cleats, by the way. Johnny Unitas.
He was. I grew up watching. Yeah, I grew up watching those highlights. Yeah.
There you go. Go ahead, James.
I'm gonna say 100% no hype, because I think the best pure passer of the football is in the league right now. Has been playing for a long enough time that he's got the resume for it, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I think Aaron Rodgers is the best pure passer. I think if I was to start a franchise with any quarterback in their prime, we haven't seen Pat Mahomes in his prime, I understand.
Right.
To date, in his prime, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers because he can do everything. He can do everything. He can do what Peyton can do. He can change the play. He's got the arm strength of anybody else. He can run like these guys. Yeah. He's got everything that every quarterback would ever want, and he's got that swag, that attitude, that, oh, you don't think I can do it? Oh, wait and see what happens. Petty Rogers is in full effect right now. And to me, I'm not a Packers fan, obviously, but if I was to start one, he's the best pure passer I've ever seen in my life.
I have to agree with you.
I couldn't argue with that,
James. Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to say hype on that. We don't have enough information yet with Mahomes, but from like a mechanic standpoint, that arm is—he's
unbelievable.
Best arms we've ever seen.
He's
ever.
A generational talent right now. He definitely could be a GOAT of this GOTE. He could definitely be one of those in this era. But like you said, Aaron Rodgers, you can't forget about Aaron Rodgers. That's like forgetting about Jordan. You can't do that. You got to remember what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table. So I dropped the ball on that. I should say Aaron Rodgers from the beginning.
That's okay. That's all right. Okay, and next one, hype or no hype. Cardinals overlooked the Lions last weekend.
100%. They overlooked the Lions. 100%. Cliff Kingsbury was in his bag, not running the ball, just thinking we're going to sling it all over the place. They were up by double digits in the third quarter. That is a lapse of mental. At home with no fans, and you've got that offense, it's inexcusable for them to have lost the Lions, because the Lions are not a good team. They're just not a good team.
Gotcha. Go ahead, James. Or Lance, I'm sorry.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet, 100%. Everything you said was no hype. I agree with James. So I'm just going to – I don't want to regurgitate what he just said, but that's exactly everything that he just said happened. So no hype.
Okay. I want you guys to real quick pull up who's playing this weekend, so you guys get a chance to look at that, because one of the questions is who gets upset this weekend. So I don't know if you guys have that in front of you or not. So before we get to that question, I want to ask, can Breeze bounce back? Hype or no hype? I know a lot of times, we have these knee-jerk reactions, with one bad game. It's like, oh, my God, Breeze is falling off the wagon. I know his yards per attempt is going down and down every single year without Michael Thomas there. Right now, he's got a sprained ankle for a couple of weeks. But do you think Breeze can bounce back? Hype or no hype? I'm going to start with that. I'm going to say no hype. I think it's, 1 or 2 games till they're fine, just like I just said. He'll be totally fine. He totally bounces back. I think they finished second in that division, so I think Tampa Bay looks really good. But I'm going to say no hype. He bounces back.
Go, Sade. Go, Sade. She want to say her version. She don't think that you're right. She don't agree with you. I'm going to say no hype. It's too early. It's too early to say that he won't bounce back. So I see him bouncing back. So no hype.
Okay.
And is Thomas coming back or is he out for the season? Is Michael Thomas out for the season?
He's not back this week, but he's not out the season. No, there was a chance that he was going to play this week, so he'll be back in a few weeks.
Okay, so when he comes back, then I see Brady getting his timing together with everybody. I think that'll make Emmanuel Sanders play a little bit better with him because for some reason he hasn't been throwing the ball to Emmanuel Sanders. How do I know these stats? Because Emmanuel Sanders is on my fantasy team. And he hasn't
You mentioned half your team right now, man.
I know, right?
There you
so
go.
with that being said, though, I see Brady. Not Brady, but I see Breeze coming back. Give him a couple of weeks, get everything back together. He'll be back to the Drew Brees.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think it's no hype. Look, Breeze has never been the guy that's been pushing the ball down the field 50, 60 yards at a clip. He's a dink and dunk guy. You look at their offense. That's why he has a 70. That's why he holds the record like last 3 years in a row for completion percentage in NFL history. Like last year was over 70%. There's a reason for that.
A lot.
And that reason is because you're only throwing it 7-8 yards.
Yeah.
And letting your guys that are athletic do athletic things.
Right.
Let them be a part of that process. So, yeah, no, he'll be fine. As far as looking at upsets for next week or for this weekend coming, as a Browns fan, I'm going to say the Browns, even though they're only a 4.5-point underdog. But if I was to pick a game outside of that, I'm probably going to take this Philadelphia Eagles team over this battered Niners team, even though the Niners are a 7.5-point favorite.
Okay.
It's 0. They're 0-2-1. They're 0-2-1. Okay? I don't see this team that won a Super Bowl that's got a lot of talent going into San Francisco with a battered offense, battered defense, losing right now. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
If Philly has their backs against the wall, I feel like, they're paying Carson all that money. They got to win.
I don't know. I'm trying to pull it up right now. I'm trying to pull up the schedule.
Here, as you're doing that, I'll go with mine, Lance. I'm going to go the Dolphins over the Seahawks in South.
I can see that.
Yeah. Seahawks are high right now. Russell Wilson playing out of his mind, which is great. He's on my fantasy as well, so he's one of my fantasy guys. But sometimes, you go to that South Beach area, man, and look out. Dolphins are playing. I mean, Fitzmagic can have a Fitzmagic game. You never know. One game, gives you 450 yards. Another game he'll give you 110 yards with 3 picks. So if Fitzmagic could be Fitzmagic, I say watch out, Seahawks. Especially with the Seahawks, they have their offensive line is kind of down in the dumps. They're deep. They don't have a pass rusher at all. So watch out. Watch out.
Well,
and Sade said hi.
I know. I'm dying laughing. Sade, she is so adorable. When she finally found herself, she was grabbing on his ear. She's saying hi. Oh, I love it. She's so adorable.
My game this week is the upset is going to be the Raiders over the Bills.
Hey.
Oh, that could happen. That's not an upset. That's not an upset. The Raiders are favored.
Are they?
Wait.
Yeah, the Raiders are favored. Come on.
If the Raiders are favored, are you sure about that?
No, they're not.
Looking at it, the Bills are favored by 3.
Yeah, by 3.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. And I don't read the lines anyway. But anyway, I'm just going off of wins and teams that's been playing better. But I can see the Raiders doing that, and that's no hype. I'm not saying I know that I sound like I'm in my hype because I'm saying the Raiders, and I know you're a Bills fan, so it sounds like I'm trying to poke, but I'm not trying to poke.
Hey, when we're in the no hype zone, my fandom has to go away, right? Because we're in the no hype.
But I'm saying that because they're playing in Vegas. So with that being said, not saying that the fans gonna make a difference, but Bills is not playing in Buffalo, which might be a good thing for the Bills. But I can see Vegas sometimes being a distraction for certain teams, for players that's from Buffalo. Just trying to say that much. So that's my thing.
All right, so I got one last thing for you guys. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're starting to put teams that aren't playing in the top college football top 25 in the top 25. Do you guys agree with that? Yes or no? Or what's your hype and no hype, I guess, on that?
Can I go really quick? Because
sure. Go ahead, Lance.
I don't know nothing about. I don't talk college football. I think it's crap until everybody's able to get involved. You know, I know that you feel like you got to rank everything because you want to get this playoff going, but you don't have all the big players playing at, you know, and they're not at 100% right now. So I don't know what you do with this season. I know that you're trying to feed the appetites of the college football fan, but the season is so incomplete, and teams are not at 100%. It's almost hard for me to even watch it. So that's my spiel on it. And that's no hype. College football is really hard to get into right now, you know, without the traditional boys going out at full strength. So
yeah, I was going to say the college football needs that narrative of, you know, the preseason top 25. So I feel like they had to thrust kind of those teams that aren't playing in there just so we can talk about it more, even though they're not playing. I actually am going to disagree with throwing those guys in there just right now because we still don't know how they're going to end up. I mean, I know we can predict, you know, based on the rosters and what they did last year. And, hey, you know, we think Penn State's going to do this year. We think Oregon's going to do this or end up like this. But we never know until they play it on the field. So like college football's got a problem. They shouldn't rank this, just an opinion. This is all hype. College football needs to not throw any rankings out there until like week 6 or week 7. Just like how we said, hey, the NFL, like give me 4 weeks to, you know, to determine who's really good or not in the NFL. Week 6, then put the rankings out there. Because I mean, look, Texas lost today. Oklahoma lost last week.
Right.
We've had a lot of upset. We want to call them upset, so to speak. But in the grand scheme of things, when things fall into place, is it really going to be an upset? Or was it really an upset? If, you know, Texas loses to it was TCU today, or when Oklahoma lost to Kansas State, was that really an upset? You know, when it's all said and done.
So I would say I understand what you're saying as far as like not ranking them until week 6, and I get that. But even if you didn't do a formal ranking system, and again, it goes back to bets and things of that nature, but you know who's favored because Vegas says who's favored. and they're almost always right for a reason. Like they have enough due diligence done that they can tell you what team within reason is better and about what they're going to score. And it seems like almost 9 times out of 10, they're dead on within a point or two each way. It's incredible how they know that. So I would say the ranking system, ranking them a little early. I mean, what they should do is you're going to do the preseason AP, and it shouldn't change until week 5 or week 6. So go ahead and rank them before the season starts, but nothing changes until week 5 or week 6. Let them get that out of the system. So if any of those dogs that were 4, 5, or 6 lost, they're still there, but at the end of after week 6, they've got 1 or 2 losses, and some other teams that come up, they may fall farther than they did if they just would have done that way. So I agree with you, Seth. They shouldn't rank them until then, but Ohio State is the number 1 or number 2 team in the country, and everybody knows it. They shouldn't be penalized because they have a stooge for a president of the Big Ten.
Right. Fair enough. All right. Anything else you guys want to add to today's show, to episode 54?
No, we got
I don't
special
think
guest
so. I think we're good. I mean, yeah. I mean, she was the star of the show. She was so funny. She's so cute, bro.
Yeah, just she does that a lot. That's her.
Hey, Teresa wants to know when you guys need a break, come bring the baby over for an hour or 2. She will be more than happy.
And so will Valerie. Will feel relieved as well.
Just feel free to reach out on that. Biggest thing I would say is basketball is still going. I know Lance is watching. I don't know how many other people are watching.
I don't care. Who cares?
Baseball's going on. Some people are watching.
Yeah.
Not everybody's watching. Hockey, I guess, had a finals and somebody won.
Hockey's over.
Nobody really watched that.
Yeah.
What this all tells me is NFL is still king. Football is still king.
No. I'm going to say this. The people, we watch the NFL, but there's a lot of people that's not watching the NFL too. And I'm not saying that the numbers, but for some reason, this whole year is a wash for everything. Just to have sports playing, period, with everything that's going on is just a way of us deflecting and being able to relax. But the numbers ain't going to be where they should be because everybody has so much stuff going on just trying to make it right now that the fact that they even able to pull them off, whether hockey had a few viewers, baseball is down, basketball is down. So what? They trying to pull it, and the ones who don't want to watch it, so sorry for you, you know, because there's people out there that love different sports, and you shouldn't have these ratings discourage some of these other leagues from trying to jump off and go to satisfy the people who are fans in those sports. And I think that's what it does. Is people who are not basketball people want to discourage people that are basketball people or baseball people. It's like it's purposely is trying to discourage. Football is going through the same thing too. It's hard to watch football. We just watch. I just think that's just our hype. That's my hype.
Now we're on episode 54. We always do a jersey number. I don't think we did it last time or the week before, but 54. Let's see what we got. I got two in my head right now. And I'm going to steal one real quick because we're all going to say it Biner
Oh,
Lacker.
shoot. 54.
We're all going to say Biner Lacker.
Okay.
But there's one more.
I don't have
Basketball.
one. The Kevin Matempo, he was 55. Shoot. Okay.
Nope. Come on, Lance. He played for y'all.
Horace Grant.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. I think 54, I think offensive lineman or something like that, or like a D lineman or something, you know. It's hard to basketball, I can't think of one except for Horace Grant. Nicely done.
That was probably those were the big yeah, I mean really that's it. That's really it.
Yeah. Right on. All right, with that, gentlemen, that wraps up our show. Thanks for watching, everybody. We got to do the proverbial smash that like button and subscribe and all that stuff, you know. But
100%.
You need to do that. Share this thing, like this thing.
Yeah.
You know, play this thing.
Share it, like it, all that stuff.
Support it. Comment on this thing.
Yeah, comment, please. And also check out James out west. He has his own J.O.W. He's got his own
J.O.W.
If you need any betting tips, any betting tips on football, basketball's too hard to call. Always call the over because there's no defense played. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. And with that, guys, we'll see you next week. Keep watching.
That's no hype.
And that
no
is
hype.
no hype.